So everybody slow down. For a minute. So everybody slow down. Yeah.
Long hair don't care about nothing, man. Out here all day head hunting, yeah. Make way when you hear me come from it. Sounds so good, got your head red rumming.
Hold on, I'm gonna look something on that up. Yeah, we've done different classes on that, but let's see what this is saying. They probably have a lot of updated info.
I'ma do whatever I want. I'ma do whatever I like. I'ma do whatever feels good. Then I'ma do whatever feels right.
Yeah, we were laughing about that. I went in Mom's room last night, and she was watching, was it like some kind of new like Dynasty thing on Netflix? I was laughing. I was like, what are they trying to do, a play on Witches of Eastwick? And she's like, oh, I want to watch that. It's like, I know, that'd be a good one to watch. I haven't seen that in a while. Anyways, we talked for a little bit, and then I went out, and I went back in like 10 or 15 minutes later, and I said, this is going to drive me frickin' nuts. I was showing her something with the tracks of my hair. It's like, this is gonna drive me nuts. And she had a bowl of maraschino cherries on her nightstand. And right after I said that, on the Netflix show she was watching, the girl goes, I'm gonna stick a maraschino cherry in my eye, or something like that. It was just funny timing. We were laughing. So yes, wearing headphones, especially the sound blocking ones, if you wear them too much, especially if you already have damage from other things. Wearing the sound blocking or noise canceling headphones carries risks that you're going to get noise induced hearing loss. A lot of them get the tinnitus, ringing, ear infections, and diminished situational awareness. Recently, audiologists have linked prolonged use of active noise cancellation to listening fatigue and auditory processing disorder (APD), making it harder for the brain to process speech in noisy environments. I don't hear anybody saying get rid of headphones. Should probably educate about that stuff though, right? Bunch of fear propaganda. China! APD, some studies suggest that entirely depriving the developing brain of ambient background noise may affect its ability to process sound, potentially leading to challenges in distinguishing speech from background noise. Right, and then people like almost perpetuate that behavior, wanting them to get damaged. And then when they start complaining, they think that they can sue somebody. It's like, no. Right, why do they teach people about these things? As a parent, it's your responsibility to limit their screen time and their headphone time, whatever it is. We put the health risks out there. It's right on the internet. Yeah, nothing you don't use, right? Huh? Huh? A lot of people do that shit. They think, oh, okay, then if they get damaged, they're going to sue somebody and someone's going to pay. They did the same thing with the vaccines. Right, some people do get lawsuits, though. Well, that's why they make sure to get those lawsuits out of the way while everything's on the DL and they get all the paperwork in order so no one else can sue them. They gotta get those few lawsuits in there for their friends. We're not just talking about vaccines, yeah. Yeah, they do it with SSRIs, like freaking so much, dude. It's bad. What do I mean? What they do is they make drugs like SSRIs. Yeah, they make new ones all the time because they have to keep taking them off the market because they know people are going to start complaining about different symptoms. Yeah, and if you take a look, you'll see all those SSRIs, a few lawsuits will happen, and we guess we got to take it off the market after those few lawsuits. They get the proper paperwork in order. It's so easy. They know the process and procedure like the back of their hand. Want to build a greenhouse? Yeah, so it does put your hearing at risk. They say you don't want to go above, 85 decibels? Yeah, it can permanently damage delicate inner ear cells. And a lot of them know this, and then they think it's funny to find the stupid kids that don't know that and say, here, put on these headphones, and then blast them with something above 85 decibels and think it's funny. Yeah. So cool, aren't you? They learn from the best. I know, we pointed them out to you too. And then when you see the fucking shit they're doing and playing and how some of them think they're working. For who? Yeah, idiots. And then they make fun of people who think they're working for... You're doing the same fucking shit the goons are. I know. I know, you gotta be one of them, right? To be an undercover. You gotta act like one of them and be one. To show people, right? Okay, so where's the reports on the public news stations? Local, national, helping people to understand these things so they don't get hurt or tricked by sick, fucking, stupid people. I know, it's their own fault, but it's not your fault. They deserve it. They deserve it. They're racists. Make my eyes red like Diablo. Be dangerous. For the bags of dope, been set in stone, good to go. Found my zone at the Alamo. Dinosaur, so big, colossal. You stuck in dirt, man, fossils. Rolling through your eyes. Yeah. Big bad wolf when you lost in the woods. I wish you would. Underwood. Mopping the floor with that. Up with the other top of the score like friends in the core, man, I'll go for you. Well, yeah, what I think what happened, and we showed you that back in 2008, 9, 10, 11, a lot of them were doing this, the adults involved with a lot of those land grabs and gaslighting and bullshit and crimes and things like that. They just passed it off to their kids and made them think they were working for something important, getting the Karens, non-vaxxers, bully, helping the kids, spying on these dangerous drug cartel families. Yeah, they fucked up, dude. They knew it was fucking stupid and they went along with it anyways. You could have spoken up and you chose not to. So we're here now, fucking 16 years later. Anybody want to speak up and help to report how these punks fucking torture little kids, target retards that they know are going to have retarded babies, especially if they vaccinate them? They fucking knew this, and they were telling you this back in 2005, 6, 7, and 8. Take a look. And they turned the vulnerable ones into targets by sharing different lists and information and actually using locations of some of those people as leverage. They could have fucking cared less about anything else. It was just happened to be a coincidence. I know, I'm telling you, when you look at it and you understand what the fuck is going on here and how stupid it is for us personally at our level of awareness. I know, a lot of secrecy, huh? All these people concerned about privacy. You fucking stick fucks. Nasty fucking pieces of shit. Yeah, so anybody have any suggestions as to how we can get these facts reported on? Their team. I hear you. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. It don't matter anymore.
They're feeling like they black sheep, running from the wolves that are nipping at your back feet. Leather jacket, pocket knives, fencing in the back streets, burst into flames like a match to a gas leak. Only thing that kept me back in school was art class. Had a friend with the black flag armband. He said it's cool if they all don't understand you. Just be yourself. You know what you're here to do. There's the haters, there's the bullies, there's the know-it-alls, but they just hate the faults, so they just hate us all. It's irrelevant if they go big and talk, cause we're just tiny ants out in space on a giant wall. Hate on, wait on, go throw some shade on. Hate on, wait on, go throw some shade on. Wanna come and leave cause you think you're strong, doesn't make you feel good. Wanna show me up cause you think I'm wrong, doesn't make you feel good. Sometimes I wonder why, I can't understand. My head keeps running like a river over troubled sand. And I'm just thinking of these reasons you would do me wrong. I can't think of one, I guess we all got our opinions. And I'm just out here trying to be good, do right, trying to do things my life. You just love how you stride. Keep my eyes closed, my head down, pass straight, my mind clear. My energy stays vibrant, I'm vibing on that right shit, yeah. Fuck that motion holding me down. Only way out of here is out. Y'all too busy sticking around.
Go throw some shade on.
At Darling's Chrysler Dodge Ram in Augusta, the Declaration of Deals sales event is on. Get 2.9% APR for 72 months plus $9,000 off a 2026 Ram 1500 Bighorn. Or lease a 2026 Ram 1500 Laramie, $599 a month, $45.98 due at signing. Don't wait, hurry in and save thousands on a new Ram at Darling's in Augusta. You'll do better at Darling's.
All right, so I sent over some articles there. These might help with some of those questions there. It is not related to that over there. Someone else was asking questions about something, so you might be interested in this too. Yeah, I know your investigations are pretty strictly defined, but this kind of stuff might be interesting to you. I mean, you're listening anyway, so. But yeah, you over there who asked that question, this article might be of use to you. This is on the biorxiv.org. All right, so I'm going to send those over. So there we go. This part right here might kind of be more geared toward what you were talking about or asking about. When it comes to some of the direct targeting, and it's kind of interlaced with some of those things, and you can see how these things get used for professional testing, especially if they have a gift or special needs, huh? Right, and then how that same technology and things get used by other organizations and traveling bands. And it's almost like a drug, huh? Sometimes the bigger people help the little people pack the car and get equipment and put them on the road. They might even help point those ones out who are abusing that technology. They showed them how to use it. Oh, if you go back, actually, what was it? Remember that David Wilcock guy that recently vaporized himself? Right, didn't Trump just buy a bunch of his drones, too, that he designed? Or worked on helping to design? I don't know. Something like that. I don't know. I'm not very well versed in all that stuff. There's other people that are right on it. I know they seem to know so much about it. Maybe you should ask them. Right, so if you go back maybe 5, 6, 7 years in his shows, and he was showing them how they make these little fish and pole devices, the copper wire. Yeah. Right, and the way they do is like they're almost showing it in a way to show other law enforcement and people this is how they're doing it. And other people might say, look, they're showing them how to do it. And they can spin it either way, you see? Where they're just actually showing you, look, this is what's... Right, remember the ones we were telling you about? Some of my cousins were the ones they had going around stealing the fucking copper wire from those places. Yeah, one robbed a pharmacy. It was on YouTube. Yeah, one wound up dead in a bathroom. And the other one went to Alaska after they helped them with some fucking bullshit sting operations, right, Dan Bongino? Right, we're very well versed on this, so anyone listening, I'd strongly suggest people wake the fuck up and help these kids. So anyways, I'll read you part of this article. Keep going down there where it says abstract. Now, interlocutors. Is that how you say that? Interlocutors. Interlocutors. Interlocutor.
Interlocutor.
Interlocutor. A person who takes part in a dialogue or conversation. My interlocutor.
Interlocutor.
My interlocutor offered several arguments on the relative merits of the proposal. Comes from the early 16th century modern Latin, from Latin interlocut, interrupted by speech, from the verb interloqui, from inter, between, low-key, speak. Low-key. Interlocutor. Interlocutors often use the semantics of comprehended speech to inform the semantics of planned speech. Do representations of the comprehension and planning stimuli interact on a neural level? We use rapid and visible frequency tagging, known as RIFT, R-I-F-T, and EEG, to probe the attentional distribution between spoken distractor words and the target pictures in the picture word interference, PWI, paradigm. We presented participants with auditory distractor nouns, auditory 1, tagged at 54 Hertz, together with categorically related or unrelated pictures, visual 2, tagged at 68 Hertz, which had to be named after a delay. RIFT elicits steady state evoked potentials which reflect attentional allocation to the tagged stimuli. When representations of the tagged stimuli interact, integrative effects have been observed at the intermodulation frequency, resulting from an interaction of the base frequencies. Drivers et al., 2021. Okay. Our results showed clear power increases of 54 Hertz and 68 Hertz during the tagging window, but no differences between related or unrelated conditions. More interestingly, we observed a larger power difference. More interestingly, we observed. Right. Now, you see how some other information helps you to know just how interesting that is. See how without that knowledge, we're just reading words, and it's like, what are they even talking about, and how is that interesting? Right. You see how a lot of people doing these investigations and stuff, we barely finished some of these articles, and they're already gone. Something just clicked, right? So anyways, hopefully the proper authorities here in Augusta, Maine do what they're supposed to do to help these kids. Right, because a lot of the people that jumped on board in 2010, 2009, 10, 11 with a lot of that targeting, messing around with those kind of things, thinking that people didn't know about it or it was new, and even if they did, it's fun to watch them squirm and try to tell the others. I mean, there's a whole host of different things that's gone on with these things, and we try to tell the people who think they're working for the system or somebody important, and they're just getting the bad people, the problems, non-vaxxers, bullies, whatever it is. It's not okay. Yeah, they know that. And it is sad how a lot of them went along with it in those loops and groups. And when you see how heavily those people that went along with it, kind of like driving the car with all the drugs in it, thinking they're going to get away with it, Yeah, see how it's a little bit harder in these kind of chase downs when it's, not a bunch of drugs in a 2,000-pound vehicle going up the highway that they call in to keep you distracted chasing down all these kids they're putting out on the road while they're doing this shit behind closed doors. Do you understand that? And we've been telling you this for years. Right, so hopefully people are catching on to that, and we say these things out loud specifically to you, and I know you understand these things, but they're listening too, and we explain to them that we're using this as an advantage point. And a lot of the people who work with us were well aware back in 2008, 9, 10, 11, just how many of those people were watching and listening, so we try to use that to the advantage to feed them the information that'll hopefully help them do the right thing. And many people choose not to because it doesn't serve their souls, their pockets, their nasty egos. So when you're dealing with like drug addicts, yeah, it's pretty sad. A lot of them don't do drugs. Do you understand what I'm saying? Or they think they don't, just because it's prescribed to them and comes in a special briefcase from special doctors. Highly qualified and degreed. I know, it's okay. I know, and you see, like, they want to arrest people and put them in jail for decades for doing less than they are. When you think about it. No, when you really actually think about it. Rats in a fucking cage, dude. But you still gotta do it. Doesn't mean let the kids just run around in these cars with a bunch of drugs when these fucking punks and pieces of shit call it into you, boss, and they say, hey, highway, this number, mile marker, let you guys know, license plate number. It's in the walls, dude. Right, like they're not gonna get on it, man. It's a big bust. They do the same thing with the other stuff when you really look into it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right, so that part right there, we just read a little bit. Yep. So our results showed clear increases at 54 and 68 hertz, of course, during the tagging window, but no difference between related or unrelated conditions. More interestingly, we observed a larger power difference in the unrelated compared to the related condition at the intermodulation frequency 68 hertz - 54 hertz, 14 hertz, indicating stronger interaction between the auditory and visual representations when they were unrelated. Our results go beyond standard PWI results by showing that participants do not have more difficulty visually attending to the related pictures or inhibiting the related auditory distractors. Instead, processing difficulties arise when the representations of the stimuli interact, meaning that participants might be trying to prevent integration between the auditory and visual representations in the related condition. Studying, yeah, I know, it's interesting, huh? When you think of, too, some of these ridiculous studies they do, and they get a lot of money. They got to do something, all these rich kids that go to college and get a degree. No, they get a lot of funding and grant money to do this bullshit and fuck with our kids and our parents. Studying speech planning during comprehension with the EEG has been difficult due to lack of appropriate methodology. The study demonstrates that rapid and visible frequency tagging, RIFT, can explore attentional allocation to speech planning and comprehension stimuli, as well as their interaction. Our results show that the content of the speech planning and comprehension representations affect their interaction in the neural signal, which should always be considered when these processes are studied jointly. In future work, RIFT could be used to investigate speech planning and comprehension in more conversational settings. As tagging can be added to videos or speech segments, this is the first study that demonstrates that RIFT can be used together with the EEG to study cognitive phenomenon. Yeah, so a lot of people think this has gone on far too long, and it's absolutely ridiculous. The stuff that Rift is doing in these basic kind of investigate speech planning and comprehension in more conversational, conversational settings. Yeah, this should be happening in all our public schools, right? It should be there. They should be prepared to be getting kindergartners that might have delays or speech problems and have speech therapists and people that are there to help with that. And then when you look at over the years how, they have, some places have different schools set up for children with special needs or autism. Right, I remember when we were kids, they would have like a resource room and a handicap room. We had a resource and a handicap room. A resource room was for the kids that were more with it, maybe, and just misbehaved. Yeah, and they usually came from the lower income families that smoked and drank and trafficked or did drugs or both. Yeah, and then there was the handicapped room for those with more, that needed more attention, like the ones in the handicapped room. One was my neighbor. Remember him? He was in a wheelchair. He couldn't move his head or anything. He could move only his head. Yeah, a little bit. He could move his hand too. Remember, he would move his hands on the wheelchair. He had a tray where he could point to drink or food, bathroom. He had no speech, no. He had like sounds and stuff. He had seizures all the time. I remember the ambulance coming a few times. Right, and then some of the other ones in there, I think some had a little speech. Yeah, there was one reminded me a lot of Jamie, but their speech wasn't as coherent. Yeah, it was more spotty words, phrases. They rocked a lot too. I remember they put me in that room actually. I was in the handicap room. I don't know if I was supposed to be more of a like punishment or if I was supposed to help because I was so mature and aware. That one kid though, I thought they were mean to that one. I didn't think that was right that they could do that. They put if he didn't listen because he was handy, he'd like to touch everything, Yeah, and so they'd have him sit in the chair if he couldn't like stop with his hands because he'd always be moving his hands. Even if he was like tapping his own legs, they'd be like telling him to stop. I was like, dude, I know, I remember thinking, just let him move his hands. Right, it's almost like a shaking of the leg, only he'd be kind of like doing it with his hands and flapping his hands, like Flappy Bird. Right, I remember they put him in the chair, and they had him put his hands behind his back, around the chair, and it was like those wide chairs. And they made him sit there for a little bit. And I remember kind of sitting there, reading the dictionary they gave me, thinking, what a bitch. I know, I was only like, third or fourth grade at that time. And I knew better. I was like, that's fucked up. You know what I'm talking about. With the one, I don't know whatever happened. I know the one in the wheelchair, he passed away. The one that lived next door to us, the one in the wheelchair. Pretty sure one of his brothers wound up in prison. Or what happened to the other one? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you remember that? Yeah, the resource and handicap room. They were pretty close there by the kindergarten room and that side entrance there. Yeah, Miss Patfoot was in the resource room. There was only a few resource teachers, and then yeah, she was older, so I mean she was in retirement years in my K to 5 era, and then when she retired, yeah, I remember Miss Capon, and there was a few other ones, and her son was in the hospital with me when I had, man, I can't remember if it was Devin or Olivia now. Yeah, her son was right next door to us. Him and his wife just had a baby. Like, oh my gosh, I remember your mom. Yeah, she was a sweetheart. Yeah, yeah, you remember her. Yeah, she had the really long, kind of crimpy hairs. Yeah. Yep, that was her. Yeah. We did. We had a lot of good teachers. Yeah, we did. Yeah, I can read a little bit more of that. So the introduction there. A robust finding of picture-word interference, known as PWI studies. Look into the PWI studies. It's insane. Anyways, a robust finding of picture-word interference, PWI studies, and the semantic interference effect. Slower responses when naming target pictures that are presented with categorically related than with unrelated auditory or written distractors. For review, see Berkey et al. 2020. The PWI literature usually focus, just 2020. When you look into some of the other things they're doing in that year, and you think of the money going into them doing these, bullshit studies. And then a lot of the mandates and things they were passing, it's sick. And to try to get through to those people and for them to be casting off anyone speaking along the lines of the concerned issues is a conspiracy theorist. Yeah, just another turtle washer. Yeah, and see, they can make the turtle washer someone you need to protect or attack very easily, depending on what fits their business model. Given that the representations of targets and distractors compete on some level, they must also interact. And this study re-leveraged the PWI paradigm to better understand comprehension, speech planning, and their interaction. As in this paradigm, participants simultaneously comprehend auditory distractors while preparing to name picture targets. We will investigate how participants distribute their attention to representations of speech planning and comprehension stimuli. Crucially, we will also look at how these representations interact in neural signal. Speech planning as well as listening requires attentional capacity, which means that attentional resources are shared between speech planning and comprehension when they take place concurrently. In line with this, evidence from dual tasking studies shows that there is mutual interference between speech planning and comprehension. Bogles et al. 2015. Dallery and Max 2016. Fargier and Lauganaro 2016 and 2019. In just a fraction of the cost of a few of these studies, and there's a lot all across the nation. Man, when you think of how that could have been put towards some things that would have been so much more productive and healthy for children in the public school systems. Fuck them, huh? It's so sad. It makes us sick. Does the content of the speech planning and comprehension affect the attentional distributor? Do we really need to do too much delving into that? Or in many conversations, the planned utterance depends on the content of comprehension. This means that interlocutors use the semantics of comprehended speech to inform the semantics of speech planning, Bogles et al. 2015 and 2018. Thus, relatedness of speech planning and comprehension streams could affect how future speakers distribute their attentional resources. There is some evidence that the comprehension and production systems interact. Several theories assume that two systems work jointly to improve their functioning. Chang, 2002, Federmeyer, 2007, 2002 and 2007, interesting. Pickering and Gamby, 2018, Rode, 2002. For example, the production system can aid with predicting upcoming words during comprehension. The overlap and potential interaction of representations within the comprehension and production system is understood less, as it is difficult to study the interaction between covert, and complex processes. A novel approach, rapid invisible frequency tagging, again known as RIFT, has recently been put forward, investigating both attentional allocation to multiple stimuli and stimulus interaction. Brickweed et al. 2022, Dwecker et al. 2021, Ferrante et al. 2023, Pan et al. 2021, Sejdel et al. 2023-2024, Zigalov et al. 2019-2021, Zigalov and Jensen 2020. In this method, the luminance of the visual stimuli and the amplitude of the auditory stimuli is periodically modulated at high frequencies, 50 hertz, which leads to imperceptible tagging that does not interfere with endogenous oscillators. Minarek et al. 2023, visual and auditory tagging produce robust steady-state evoked potentials known as SSEP. The strength of these potentials reflects visual or auditory attention towards the tagged stimuli. Toffinen et al. 2009, tagging at two different frequencies also creates increased power at intermodulation frequencies, which result from the nonlinear interaction of these base frequencies. Reagan et al. 1995. You can take it to different levels. Got dogs coming from separate directions, right? The power of the intermodulation frequency is thought to reflect the strength of interaction between the representations of the two stimuli. Drivers et al. 2021, Sajal et al. 2024. In this study, we utilized the RIFT approach to study interaction between speech planning and comprehension. To study speech planning during comprehension, we utilized a delayed naming PWI paradigm combined with RIFT and EEG. In this study, participants named visually tagged pictures, 68 Hz luminance modulation, that were presented simultaneously with auditorily tagged distractor words, 54 Hz amplitude modulation. We examined the SSEPs at the tagging frequencies to determine whether relatedness affects how participants distribute their attentional resources to speech planning stimuli, for example, target picture, and to comprehension stimuli, such as distractors. Importantly, we also examined the intermodulation frequency to determine whether the participants' representations of the speech planning and comprehension stimuli interacted differently depending on their relatedness. I sure hope so.
Every night it feels like another weekend. It set me on fire, but don't forget to breathe in. Too many highs, what happened to the ceiling now? Too many lights, I don't know what I'm seeing. Where is my mind? Don't know what to believe in. Too many highs, what happened to the ceiling now? Like hibiscus tea, forbidden fruit, so I sit down and eat. Give me the loot, feeling biggie. With too many hits and I can't feel my feet. I'm in the booth, floating up beat. I am the truth, you know I'm tea. Like fortune tellers don't need umbrellas. I know this paint, I don't embellish. Like broke motherfuckers don't need more jealous. I don't need shit, I know y'all jealous. Take it too far, fuck around, lose it, watch it from the bar. Dip me, get dope with me, girl, let me see through the flaw. Can't even watch, money can change feels like another weekend. You set me on fire, but don't forget to breathe in. Too many highs, what happened to the ceiling now? Too many lights, I don't know what I'm seeing. Where is my mind? Don't know what to believe in. Too many highs, what happened to the ceiling now? Head in a rope, hoping I'll choke. Watch how I laugh and the girl that I float. Blood on my cloak, eyes in my veins, eyes open wide like a burn to the wall. People I want you to leave me alone, cause I ain't got no time, but I'm trying to smoke. Let I bump up, man down on my way. You rockin' my son, yeah, toss in my shade. Eyes on the way go. Hot box city in the wooden Winnebago. 2 red horns and a halo. Halos a payload. Get out my kitchen, this shit is in Fuego. I'm about to lose it like Bobby Bouchedo. Leaving them speeches with nothing to say though. Body's been chopped out, this shit is my KO. I'm about to walk off without posting bail, I'm out. Every night it feels like a